Hello everyone and welcome to Canteen Cup. My name is Scott and this is a continuation of the discussion we had with EDC and first aid kits, or iFAK's individual first aid kits. Like I was talking about earlier, my bag was getting too heavy and it was time to really start weeding it out and pulling things out and maybe putting things in. And so in this episode I want to talk about the iFAK, and I did make some changes to it, and I don't think they're bad or good or whatever, but I think they balance with me. And when you're looking at an iFAK kit, you need to look at, what do you use a lot, what do you use once in a while, and what might you use like once in a blue moon. If you prepare for every contingency that you may ever come into, you'll have 60 pounds of first aid supplies. So kind of balance it out. And I feel that for me, at my skill level, I've got a pretty good kit that'll probably cover 97 to 98% of things that I may run into. So here it goes. The first item in my first aid kit is the one I use the absolute most. I do not leave home without it, and that is Aleve. Sodium naproxen, for those who use ibuprofen, Tylenol, whatever it is. This is what's in my pack. It's not in my first aid kit per se, but it is in a very accessible spot. Being a little older, I have aches and pains. I've got injuries. I get headaches. But I am always into this. What I do is I'll go to a gas station or a pharmacy, and I'll buy this travel tube, and then I'll go to Sam's or Costco and I'll buy the big jug of Aleve, and I just keep refilling this. But this is always with me. All right. Moving on, another item that I keep with me is another multi-use item. You've seen other people have these. It is a triangular bandage. This is an issue triangular bandage, or it's called a cravat. When I was in the Army, we used them in the field as neck scars. We used them as head covering. We used to wet them and put them around our neck or on our heads. They also make a field expedient tourniquet. They can be used as a sling for a shoulder injury or an arm injury. They could be used as a bandage, not a dressing, but as a bandage. And so there are multiple use, but I always keep someone stuffed somewhere in my bag, somewhat easy to get to, because I use it for a lot of different things. And if I use it for a neck scarf or a bandana or whatever, I just throw it in the washing machine and reuse it. When you're talking about, field first aid, remember, you are not in a sterile field when you do that. It's a non-sterile field, and as long as this is clean, you'll be okay, because once you get back to where you can get that next level of care, believe me, they're going to give you antibiotics, and they're going to go in, they're going to clean it for you, and you're probably not going to like it. All right. Another thing I keep in my get home bag is a pair of bandage shears, or EMT shears. I buy the slightly better quality. These are the ones you can cut a penny with. They're multi-purpose. I don't just use them for first aid. These are also not in my little first aid kit, but they're in a place where I can get to them readily if I have to zip through clothes, a seatbelt, or whatever. But even if you don't carry a first aid kit, boy, this is just a great tool to have. I keep a set of chest seals with me. These are Halo. This is a complete set. This is one of my once in a blue moon items. I have a sleeve in my backpack that I can just slip this in, but I keep a set of these with me. This is something I did not carry until recently, but I can see it's a good thing to have, especially if you have a chest wound, or what people call a sucking chest wound, where you'll have difficulty breathing. So not only could this be used for gunshot wounds, but it could be for any impaling injury to your chest that may impede your breathing. So I do keep a set of these, and these are not in my first aid kit because they're kind of big, but I know where they are. Two other items, or actually three other items that I keep in another pocket is I do keep what some people affectionately call a nose hose. And I keep an N95 mask. I got these from 3M. And what I like about these is they're flat. You get the ones that are cup shaped and they get damaged in your pack, but these are flat. And so I take these two items and a pair of gloves, and I put them in a readily accessible part of my pouch so I can get to them pretty much right away. The N95 mask could be used for a pandemic, it could be used for dust, it could be used for radiation, keep it out of your lungs. So it's very good to have with you. So I always keep one here. I keep some more in my other first aid kit. All right, that's everything that I keep kind of outside of my first aid kit. Mainly because they're bulky or they have other uses, or I want them in a particular place where I can get to them pretty easily. If I went to right now I keep all my first aid supplies in a quart-sized freezer Ziploc. I guess if I went a little bigger I could put more of that stuff in there with it, but just the way my pack is set up with its pockets, I kind of like it the way it is. All right. The first thing in my first aid kit, believe it or not, is an Adventure Medical Kits. It's their ultralight, watertight .3 medical kit. It's about $15. I think it's a heck of a deal. I really like it. I really like this kit. It does cover a lot of the stuff you need on a day-to-day basis. It's got a pair of tick forceps in here and a safety pin so you can get splinters out. Good little kit, good deal for the money. And it does have some medications in it. It's got some stingies, it's got some ibuprofen and antihistamine. So a good little kit. I can't recommend this kit enough is what I should say. But it makes a good basic kit. And if you're going on a little hike or something somewhere, just pull this out of your other first aid kit, stick it in the pocket and go. When you get back, stick it back in. But I really do like this. One of the things I also keep is compressed gauze, compressed crinkle gauze. This is regular gauze, uncompressed. Let's see, I got the size in here. They don't have the size, but it's like 4.5 yards or something like that. It's a pretty good sized piece of gauze, but what they do is they fold it up and then they vacuum seal it so it's real tight. Now these are what I use for traumatic injuries. You can take them out, fluff them up a little bit. You can pack a wound with them. And again, they're very useful because they're gauze. They can be used as a dressing or as a bandage. Now, let me differentiate. A dressing is something you put directly on the wound. A bandage is what you use to wrap the dressing to the wound. But gauze can be used for either. So you can use it as a dressing. You can pack a wound with these, whatever your experience is, but they will function pretty much like the old Army field dressings or the new Israeli type dressings with. Okay, I'm not done yet. So this is part of a little package I have. Along with these, I carry 2 SWAT tourniquets, bandages. What I really like about these is that they can be used either as a tourniquet or as a pressure bandage. Either or you could use one as a tourniquet and one as a bandage. They're a little heavy, they're a little pricey, but they're well worth it. They're multi-purpose, and these with the compressed gauze allow me to treat. I can treat gunshot wounds with this. I can treat traumatic injuries with these. I can stop the bleeding. So I'm not carrying a separate tourniquet. I use these for either. Again, my probability of getting shot is really, really, really low. My probability of getting severely injured is probably really low. And so these are the things that, I've had these for a couple of years and they're still in their original wrap. Am I prepared for a gunshot wound? Yes. If I was a police officer, if I was a soldier, yeah, I would be carrying multiple tourniquets. But, as a civilian, as somebody who, is not going to run towards a firefight, who's going to try to run away from one, these will probably do me just as well. And they will do pretty much about the same thing as a tourniquet does. Maybe a little bit slower, but they do work a little less money. I think I could buy 2 of these for 1 tourniquet. So, but that is what I do when I'm dealing with a serious injury. On top of that, I carry some more gloves in my kit. I carry a resuscitator. I carry one of those in there. I carry a decompression needle, and I carry an irrigation syringe. Help get things out of your eye or whatever, out of the wound, help clean the wound so you can do some primary first aid. Along with that, I carry a med pack. It's got various things in here that are not carried in that little medical kit I showed you. I've got some antacids, I've got some antidiarrheals, I've got some hydrocortisone cream for like a rash. And so some of this stuff, and I've got some iodine in here too, some povidone iodine. And so it's a little bit more stuff than that first aid kit. Again, for a slightly worse wound than that little medical kit has to carry. That's a boo-boo kit. And I've got a little extra stuff in here to help me along the way. And then the last thing I carry is I do carry water purification tablets, portable aqua. They're chlorine dioxide. I carry 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I carry about 16 of them, 16 or 20. Each tablet will purify 1 quart or 1 liter of water. Takes a couple hours for it to really work, but I have them. And in my other kits, I do have a water filter and I do have a cup, like I talked about in the puppy video, that I can boil water in if need be. So, but this is like quick on the go, get some water, drop these in, and away we go. All right, so that's pretty much my first aid kits. Again, it's, the more I go through life, the less I see I need some of this stuff. I can still handle probably at least 1 good emergency with these. I can carry a couple more with what I have in my truck. But the idea is to be prepared, but to balance that with the weight and the bulk of things. Because like I said, when things start getting too heavy, you start leaving it behind. At first you may leave it in the house, and then you leave it in your bedroom, then it's in your closet, then it's up in the attic because you don't want to carry it because it's too heavy. So you have to balance that, what you're willing to carry every day, what you're willing to drag around with you versus what you really need. And sometimes you're making compromises, but having a slightly reduced first aid kit with you is still better than having a fully decked out one sitting at home in a closet that you haven't looked at in years, and all the meds are out of date, and maybe mice got into the bandages, so at least this stuff you're touching it. And that's another one of my philosophies is, have a kit that you touch. you know, that you go into, that you look at. Like I said, I'm going through my whole kit today, and maybe later on today I'll do another video on some of the other stuff I'm doing. Maybe I'll redo that puppy video, but I'm going through my stuff and I'm touching it. I'm making sure it's okay. I check to make sure the lights work. I make sure the batteries are okay. You know, then I look at my kit. Do I have too much stuff? Do I need to take something out, put something in? Touch it, look at it. You know, in the Army, we used to have what we called TA-50 inspections, where they made us lay out all our field gear on a blanket so they can come in and look and inspect and look at it to make sure it was still serviceable. And you know, when you're in the Army, that's fine because somebody's making you do it. But then when you get, you know, back in the civilian world, you stop doing that. And all I'm saying is that if you have all this stuff, you need to go in and touch it. I have watched too many times when people would show their bug out bags at a group meeting, and their stuff is falling apart. It's out of date. It's rusted. It doesn't work. Because why? They haven't looked at it in a couple of years. So if you leave this video, hopefully, you know, you got some ideas about some of the things that you carry in your first aid kit. But if you leave this video with one thing in your mind, one is it's all about balance. You know, get yourself a kit that you're willing to take with you almost everywhere you go. And then the second thing is make sure from time to time you go in your kits and you touch everything to make sure it still works. So, okay, so maybe I'll get some more videos done. You all take care. You all stay safe, stay secure. We'll see you.